Hi, this is the very portable Lemondrop, a granular synthesizer with dual engines, 2 granular synthesizers, and it can fit in my pocket. How good is that? Did you know that this screen is touch sensitive? You can paint notes on it. Did you know that it comes with 2 LFOs and 1 step sequencer that is quite special? It is a modulation sequencer that lets you paint the waveform and let that step sequencer modulate other stuff on this little yellow piece. It is a modulation sequencer, so to speak. Take a look. It can modulate, for example, the pitch of, say, the first granular engine. It has 2 granular engines. Each engine comes with its own filter, its own envelope, and in addition to that you have 2 LFOs and this special step sequencer that I mentioned, and these things can be cross-modulated. They usually accept several inputs as a modulation source, up to 3 sources. And not only that, it has a full effect section: reverb, delay, chorus, flanger, distortion, and phaser. It has MIDI in, and when you use the granular engine, it must receive some MIDI. It works great with other gear. I have a Roland U-110, Roland's first fully sample-based digital synthesizer. It is kind of dull. Together with this, it becomes something else. What you heard was the choir on the Roland and gas dryer hose, one of the presets on this yellow Lemondrop. I think it's preset number 103. Do you believe me when I say that this little thing can enable all sorts of gear? It accepts MIDI, it accepts audio in, so you can use this to filter and manipulate your sounds. If you use the audio in, it has to receive MIDI at the same time in order to activate its granular engines. They will not be active without MIDI. So, when it comes to something like Eurorack, which does not initially use MIDI, you have to use this in a different way. On this one, you can use an SD card to load your own samples onto that and use them as a basis for both the granular engines. And it lets you adjust the wet and dry signal as well. It enables other gear. What do I mean by that? I mean, I have a lowfi DigDugDIY Purple Rain sampler and compressor. It is so lo-fi, it redefines lo-fi. It's below lo-fi. It's actually bad in some way, but done correctly and used together with the right kind of gear, it can shine. And I used this one together with Purple Rain, and I think it worked really well. It comes with a small keyboard. Okay, it's limited. It's only the white keys, C major, but it lets you explore different modulation, cross-modulation techniques on this one. Whether you are sitting in your sofa, in your favorite chair, on the bus, in your car, on the beach, you can just plug it in using a USB source that you can carry in your pocket. You have to activate that source and it's on. Simple as that. And if you are going somewhere, you just put it in your pocket and you walk. And it's so portable. And to me, the form factor, the portability of this one makes it just, to me, I mean, I'm infatuated, as you can understand. I paid for this one myself, so this is not a promotion. I bought it with my own money, or rather, the money that I got from my wife, without her knowledge. No, I'm kidding. Do you know why I like this Lemondrop? One particular reason, and that is the form factor. It is easy to hide it from your loved ones. It is, you know, they don't notice that it is a new piece of gear. It just sits there, being yellow. But speaking about the color, it is very yellow and it is easier to spot than most gear. It is just me being enthusiastic and being so portable. Wow, that's a game changer. If you look at Thomann in Germany, they have lists of what gear is most popular. In this list you see, this comes in at 22nd place. 22nd place, but look at the company. This little thing is really making an impact. 22nd place, that's quite good to be such a niche product. The other synths that are on that list are more general. They appeal to a lot of people. This one, because it enables all other gear in this granular fashion, using granular synthesis, which is great. This little thing enables all the other synths on that top selling product list. So this one should really be at the top because it can do so much for all the other synthesizers, all your gear. So, and being so portable, I mean, it's not even visible if you have some of those large synths on your table. It's just this yellow dot lurking around, doing its granular stuff. Granular synthesizers are not ubiquitous. You have Tasty Chip's GerenM. That's a tabletop synthesizer and it costs twice as much as this one. This one is 400 euros. For some people that may seem a steep price. But what I said about this enabling all the gear, I think it's really worth it. And it's so immensely portable, I cannot stress that enough. All the granular synthesizers, yeah, you have Microgranny by Bastel Instruments, and in the Eurorack world you have several. One of the most famous ones are Morphogene by Make Noise, and of course Beads, just to mention two. There are lots of others. I heard someone say that granular synthesis is dead. I cannot understand that at all, given that it is an immense enabler of all other gear and you can adjust it the way you want. It's very creative. Just look at this video where I used the Korg SQ-1, the sequencer from Korg, together with this one. You're probably interested in knowing a little bit more about the filters, how the Granular engines are set up, this special step sequencer, etc. So let's take a closer look, shall we? There are two filters, one for each engine, engine 1, engine 2. I'm talking about the Granular engine. The filters look like this, filter 1, filter 2. You can adjust the filters when you see the frequency spectrum using these two. Let's use a note. You adjust the cutoff or the center frequency, depending on what kind of filter you have applied. So this is a notch filter. You can adjust the center frequency using your finger. Touch sensitive screen. The circle denotes Q, that is resonance. The higher the circle, the more resonant it is. You can choose between notch, bandpass, high pass or low pass filters. Let's increase the resonance. 98%. You can turn off the filter. There are two envelopes, one for each Granular engine. Simple. There are two LFOs, LFO 2, and a special sequencer. You can paint the waveform, so to speak, and you can adjust the number of steps. Now you see there are many steps. There are 16, but it can be increased to 31. Now, this sequencer can modulate different things, for example, pitch. So, let's press the first. Let's press the first Granular engine and we see pitch. Let's modulate this pitch. It can be modulated by 3 different sources, you see. One is active, and that's LFO 1. Let's choose sequencer by this amount. Cool. LFO 1, LFO 2. You see the pitch follow these bars. Let's paint this one. And you can quantize those, turned off. You can choose step length. Cool. Now, let's choose another preset. You just press the name up there and say Western Space. You can adjust the volume, the overall volume. You can adjust the incoming volume if we have an external audio source by adjusting this one. Stereo or mono. There's a compressor on this one as well. Let's now look at the FX section. There are flanger, distortion, chorus, phaser. You can modulate the rate of the phaser, for example, using free sources. Mod wheel of your keyboard, X in this special coordinate system that you will see later, and Y, and MIDI. The FX section has delay as well, and a reverb. Just the reverb, 100%. Let's modulate wet amount by the X. What's X? You have this special coordinate system, so X is now modulating the wet signal, dry, wet, and in order to modulate X and Y, you can choose MIDI. That's cool. Now, this package is, I think, very complete. It makes everything great. I mean, this is not an exaggeration. It is just an enabler. And I think so, depending on where you come from, I would recommend it no matter where you come from. If you use this together with the Volcas, Eurorack, even though Eurorack requires MIDI, so you have to apply or find some MIDI signal to work with alongside Eurorack. But you can use the onboard keyboard. It makes lo-fi stuff sound more interesting. Of course, it can sound less interesting, of course, but done in the right way, it really enhances what you do. Of course, it's usefulness in hi-fi areas, if you would like to use the dichotomy lo-fi, hi-fi, is also great. One thing I have not covered is the clock input. The clock on the Lemondrop is threefold. It has an internal BPM, which is last priority. It first looks at the clock input itself on the back of the little nano box. If it's not present, it uses MIDI clock. And if that is not present, it uses its own BPM. It accepts a clock input pulse that is 4 ppq, whatever that is. That is 4 pulses per quarter note. And if I'm not mistaken, a quarter note is 1 beat. Together with MIDI, it shines. And as I demonstrated with the Roland U-110, it can make a rather dull synthesizer sound pretty amazing. And if you add this to your favorite synthesizer, it may become even more lovable for you. It opens up a lot of doors in that you can incorporate Lemondrop into your daily life and daily routines because it's so small. You do not have to sit in a specific place to play it. You just need headphones. You need some USB power, that's it. But using just a regular USB power, fit in your pocket, you can walk around using it. You can sit on the bus, on the toilet, in your living room, on your porch. It's just that it's so portable. It cannot get any smaller, I guess, without risking being unusable, because you have to touch buttons, etc. So it's actually on the size of a pocket operator. And in fact, I used it together with Pocket Operator 14. I think Lemondrop is the sweetest lemon I ever tasted.